Two Z patriots got into a fight live on air. Dancing on graves. Russia is planning to stage new performances in Mariupol. The story of a Russian soldier who has known the truth since the beginning of Putin's invasion. Corrupt commanders, lack of water, food, evacuation for the wounded, and attempts to blame failures on the execution of orders. Soldiers are forced to buy their own gear with their own money or go into debt because the state does not provide for them. Why do people from different regions in Russia receive fundamentally different amounts of money for the same war? From 3 million in elite regions to 800,000 in poorer areas. Harmless TV series and shows on Russian television, which supposedly aren't about the war, also serve the Kremlin. Hello everyone, my name is Yulia Kort, and this is the program In Trend. Every day we bring you the latest news, show you interesting videos, and debunk fakes. Propagandists Krasovsky and Vasilyev staged a public showdown that even left their own audience a bit stunned. At some point, their Tarantino-style squabbles escalated into a who can shout louder contest.
You ask for every single link. All right, we can do it differently. I'll prepare. You'll end up crying. That's how it will be for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful. You want to? All right, fine. Let's move it to the second broadcast.
Do you really want to, do you think that, am I strangling myself here?
You're acting as if, and what am I supposed to do? I'm being politically correct.
And am I supposed to do something? Well...
Then you came. I invited you. Obviously, there would be some kind of conversation. I don't invite you just to sit here like this, like that.
What do you mean? At least one quote from you.
You immediately start to withdraw. This is a typical situation for you.
That's it.
Are you going to record it all? I'll record it. That's all.
Two Z supporters who can't even talk to each other without freaking out. Basically, this is a perfect illustration of what TV heroes look like when there's no teleprompter and no Kremlin paycheck. No payroll from the Kremlin. Cringe of the day. Volodin reporting to Putin about how urgently artificial intelligence needs to be regulated. He solemnly gave an unsuccessful example from Albania. Supposedly, even a minister there was caught taking a bribe of 14 bitcoins. But there's a catch. This news is just a joke. It's fake. That's how Russian propaganda works. The country's #2 politician seriously quoted a meme.
There are both challenges and problems as of today. For example, in one of the countries, in a European Union country, they went ahead and appointed a minister in the form of artificial intelligence. And now they're already making claims against him because he turned out to be corrupt. There are no basic laws that would regulate issues related to artificial intelligence, robots, and humans. We need to establish a legal framework so that, on the one hand, it can develop effectively, and on the other hand, so that it does not harm people. In
reality, in Albania, there really is such an official, but not at all. There are no such corruption scandals surrounding him. This is the essence of Putin's Russia, when artificial intelligence appears smarter than the politicians who regulate it. Well, that's already a diagnosis. And of course, how could we do without Putin is Dzhigurda? He also decided to put in his 2 cents on the topic of AI. And no matter what, this clown stays true to himself, like a seasoned addict.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, a computer has 2 sides. Of course, it was created to be a helper for humans. However, we are well aware that individuals can indeed harbor such profound and ambitious thoughts to completely take control, to seize power and ultimately become the absolute rulers of the entire world, and even to possess and dominate the very souls of other people, exerting their will over them. Artificial intelligence, it can of course be a helper, but under influence. Truly inventive minds with deeply malicious intent can potentially turn this situation into a truly catastrophic and significant disaster.
And while officials are losing their minds, deceiving their own citizens, the situation at the front is getting more and more tense. What is happening in the Russian units? There is no rotation, the command is corrupt, there is a shortage of water and food, wounded are not being evacuated, and they try to blame failures on the execution of orders.
They drove us to a position. There were 6 of us, 2 were killed. We barely made it out alive. There is no rotation, no food. We drink from puddles, once every 3 days. Water doesn't reach us, food doesn't reach us. The guys are dying. In just a month, more than 50 people have been killed or wounded.
Losses of 50+ people in a single unit in a month is a realistic figure. But in reality, that's just what these people are saying. In fact, the fields and groves are strewn with corpses. Unfortunately, I can't show you this footage here, but you can find it on Telegram.
They're sending us to slaughter, commanders. They don't consider us human or anyone at all.
Similar collective appeals have been published before, and I've shown them to you. Commanders often act just for the reports. There are no rotations for months. The main supply relies on volunteers. They try not to record the injuries. Positions are taken. On paper, this is what the Second World Army looks like. Well, what do you think about this? Write me in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss anything interesting. There is evidence of this and history. Yevgeny Korobov. After graduating from the Ryazan Airborne School, he encountered widespread corruption and incompetence. In 22nd year, he was sent to Putin's SVO. The command there did not believe in war until the very end, but nevertheless prepared for the worst. The soldiers even started giving Promedol, a sign that serious injuries are expected ahead.
A war I didn't want to take part in. I didn't even want to serve in the army anymore. I was just enduring it. I was waiting for my contract to end. And in the future, I don't want to serve in the army, let alone take part in this war. A war that, over time, you'll end up being ashamed of. The overwhelming majority, everyone, nobody wants to fight there. No normal person wants to. And everyone tries to avoid it however they can. Even my most ambitious brigade commander left to become the commander of the 201st military base in Tajikistan. Even the brigade commander bailed.
Korobov did not support Putin's invasion and tried to save the lives of his subordinates, according to him. When the command ordered them to carry out a pointless mission to search for a lost drone, he deliberately faked injuries for himself and for his soldiers so they would be evacuated. And he called the whole situation with the drone idiocy. I
do not support this war. I never have supported it. And I don't support the government either. And if there were an opportunity to go home, everyone would go. If there's a chance not to play the hero and not to carry out the mission, I won't do it. Why should I? If there's a chance to save lives, I will save them. It doesn't matter whose. If they're my soldiers, fine. For Ukrainians, the enemy is in front of them. That's us. For us, it's the Ukrainians and our own command. Two enemies, both in front and behind. You fight for your life.
He confirms that soldiers often have to buy their own gear with their own money or go into debt because the state doesn't provide for them.
Well, the same thing is happening in Ukraine right now. You go to the front, take out a loan to buy yourself some equipment.
For participating in the fighting, he, like many others, was awarded a medal. For bravery, which he considers meaningless. He decided that this was not his war. In the fall of 2022, Korobov left for Kazakhstan with the help of volunteers. His story is a typical illustration of how the heroes of federal television become Putin's expendable material, while those who do not support the Kremlin or Putin prefer to flee. Formally, it is a united country, but in reality, it is a marketplace where the value of a person is determined by the budget of their region. What you are about to see is a harsh hierarchy built not on merit, but on how wealthy your region is. Why do people from different regions in Russia receive fundamentally different amounts of money for fighting in the same war? From 3 million in elite regions to 800,000 in poorer areas. The state shifted the payments onto the regions, but their budgets are incomparable. Moscow, Yamal-Nenets Autonomous Okrug, and Tatarstan can afford to pay millions. A poor region cannot. There is no common standard at all. The price of a soldier varies by 3 to 4 times. Registration becomes the main criterion. That's how they live. Two people from neighboring northern territories can receive amounts that differ several times over. And all because one region is wealthy while the other is impoverished. And why did it become impoverished? What do you think? Is it because of ordinary people or because of corrupt officials led by the country's chief thief? How do you like this kind of social feudalism, where the value of life is determined not by the state, but by a region's ability to cover the costs? Write your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
The so-called heroes returning from the so-called special military operation brought home not combat experience, but bloody statistics. That's really the case, because more than 1,000 Russians have suffered at the hands of such heroes. 465 Russians have been seriously injured, and at least 551 people have been killed. And more than half of these deaths are at the hands of former convicts, whom the war not only freed, but also legitimized. At least 142 of them had previously served time for similar assaults, murders, and serious violent crimes. In other words, the system released people who were already prone to violence, armed them, and sent them back into society. And most often, the victims turn out to be those who were closest to them. Relatives, neighbors, drinking buddies. And what about Russia? The state pats them on the head, tells stories about them, teaches children about them in school, and gives them benefits. In 90% of cases, the courts consider participation in the war as a mitigating circumstance. The war has long since crossed the front line. Wake up, Russians! While you were afraid to go out and protest against the bloody massacre, they came to your homes. Not Ukrainians, Russians. Now the war is in your apartments, your stairwells, and your families. But you keep watching television. Harmless TV series and shows that supposedly have nothing to do with the war are also working for the Kremlin. There's a hidden meaning in every phrase. Try, just once, to analyze how you spend your leisure time. How does Putin's propaganda work? It's on television, in schools, in kindergartens, on the streets. This is the main part of the Kremlin's brainwashing. They believe, they fall for it, and they spread it to the masses.
Hello, friends. What should the citizens of our country know about patriotism? A patriot is not the person portrayed to us by our mass media. A patriot is someone who, like our ancestors 50 or 100 years ago, understands what the motherland is. First and foremost, it is our borders, and our motherland is located within the borders established in 1945. And secondly, the motherland is freedom and independence, sovereignty. We cannot have a motherland if there is no freedom and independence in it. We cannot have a motherland if it is divided into pieces and handed over to the control of the enemy. That is why our country is fighting for freedom and independence, for borders that are defined according to international law. In the year 1945,
I can already see how they're inducting new recruits into Putin's squads. A newcomer. Well, to be fair, some people only start to understand things when it affects them personally. The residents of Troitsk staged a small but very telling protest against the monument. The sculptor Timofeev decided to give the city a gift, an art object called the family of a special military operations soldier. The mayor enthusiastically supported the idea, but apparently only for show, he launched a poll. 68% of nearly 4,000 respondents were dissatisfied. Well, see for yourself. The piece looks like it was sculpted during a 5th grade shop class. Well, this is just dancing on graves. Russia is planning to stage new performances in Mariupol, at the site where at least 600 people were killed. The occupation authorities will reopen the drama theater before the new year. They say it will all start with the premiere of The Scarlet Flower.
A large amount of work, a large amount of funding, a lot of investment and effort. As far as I know, about 300 workers are currently involved, even working in more than one shift. So yes, we are looking forward to this stage. We're anxious and hope that everything will be ready. As for the opening itself, on the 25th there will be a gala concert, a congratulatory segment from St. Petersburg, from everyone involved in the restoration process, and of course from the builders, from the leaders of the Republic.
3 years ago, on March 16th, 2022, Russia deliberately bombed the Mariupol Drama Theater. Despite the word children written at the entrance, up to 1,200 people could have been sheltering there at the time of the strike. The exact number of victims is still unknown.
The consequences of the shelling of the drama theaters? A missile hit directly in the center of the drama theater. People are now trying to evacuate,
Russia demolished the destroyed part of the theater, blaming everything on the Azov fighters.
Can you believe it? So openly, so cynically, and so cruelly. Refugees were hiding in the drama theater here. There remained... Under the rubble, there are more than 1,000 dead people who fled to the edge of the city in the hope that they would be spared.
This is what it looked like before the arrival of the Russian world in 2022. Dolina is trending all over Russia. There are masses of dissatisfied people. And of course, Dzhigurda once again didn't miss the chance to take a jab at Larissa. This time, he reminded her about the grants she received.
Larissa Dolina Kudelman's foundations received more than 160 million rubles in grants from 2022 to 2025. Larissa Dolina Kudelman says she doesn't have the money to pay it back. She'll pay it back over 3 years, not accounting for inflation. So where did it go? 163 million rubles? Plus, there are concerts funded by the budget for the Academy's students, which is also a paid institution. Where's the money's in?
By the way, we did a story about this.
And is it a lot of money?
A lot.
How much?
Am I even allowed to say that number out loud? Well, actually,
Presidential grant public?
29 million.
Let me remind you about these photos. What do you think? And also her words about Putin. She's quite the United Russia member.
When you became a member of the United Russia Party, was it for love or for work?
A bit of both. I can say that.
Is it true that you like things in a masculine way?
Yes, it's true.
Do you like it when he tells jokes?
Yes, I do. But there was some holiday and he would often invite us, along with Igor Butman, to listen to jazz.
Does Putin like jazz?
It's not that he likes it, he wanted to like it.
And
with our help in general, it's not that he became addicted to this music, but he grew to love it. And once we had a situation like that, a small gathering after another concert. Then we sang songs, he sang with the accordion, we had an accordionist there.
The Russian singer Slava is deeply outraged. It turns out, what about the stars? There are no special privileges in the Kremlin. But not for Dolina, as you remember. Slava spoke about the extremely disrespectful procedure for entering the Kremlin. According to her, at the checkpoint, the security does not take the artist's status into account. Everyone is forced to stand in the general line. Moreover, during the inspection, she was even threatened with being poked in the eye.
Hello, dear girls and boys. We're going to the Kremlin for a concert. We'll be singing songs with Anechka, but if it weren't for Anechka, honestly, I just can't imagine people at all. I would have turned around and left this place to hell. The procedure for getting in is as humiliating and disrespectful as possible. I'm going now. It's just that a young man promised to poke me in the eye to let the staff through, so now the staff member is going first. Thank God he's huge.